Hi, I'm Rochester Chamber Communications Director Dan Smith, here with Monroe County Public Health Commissioner Dr. Mike Mendoza. Mike, how are you and the family doing during these isolation protocols?
There's no question that these are unprecedented times, and my family is doing the best they can. I got to give a shout out to my wife, who's a physician at Monroe Community Hospital. She takes care of patients in their skilled nursing facility unit, and she, like all my colleagues in medicine, are working extra hours to do very difficult work. So, to say that things are, life is normal would be a lie. The reality is that this has been a tough time, but I have to say that I'm inspired by the level of collaboration, of support. The outpouring of volunteerism in our community has been unprecedented as well. And so, when we have tough times like this, I think we've got a great community to lean on, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this community.
And following up on that, I wanted to ask you about what are you seeing out on the front lines with our healthcare professionals? We don't get to really get a glimpse inside on the news or in social media, but what are you seeing on the front lines?
I still see, every measure of compassion that we have gotten used to in healthcare, and it takes a different form. It's unfortunately behind a mask and behind face shields and all that, but that same spirit of compassion and of caring is very much still there. I think you'll also see, some very tired faces. My colleagues are working very long hours and very difficult conditions, and through very uncertain times. Our patients are struggling in different ways. All the things that we're used to in healthcare have been magnified by the uncertainty that this COVID-19 pandemic has thrown our way. So these are difficult times, make no mistake.
Well, your leadership during the pandemic has achieved a bit of recognition today through the Dr. Mike Mendoza donut at Donuts Delite. What was your reaction when you saw your face in the frosting of the donuts?
I saw this day coming. I didn't know it was going to be today. It's fun. I think it's great. If there's anything that we can do to bring our community together, whether it's a donut or a garbage plate, whatever it is, I'm happy to be a part of that. And I just want to say that for every bit of support and thanks that I've gotten, I think that same level of appreciation needs to go to my team here at the health department. And all of the families who support our team here at the health department, because this is not something that is only mine. This is something that belongs to the entire family of people here, and we're here to serve the community, and we enjoy it. Long hours, but we enjoy it. And so, thank you to Donuts Delite and the community for your outpouring of support. But this is really something that we all ought to own.
We certainly thank you for your leadership and your team for the work it's doing. I want to talk now, you're going to be appearing on a webinar with Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce on Tuesday, April 21st. Rochester Chamber members who want to register can go to greaterrochesterchamber.com. You're going to have a business audience, and recently the federal government has designed some guidelines to open up America again. Governor Cuomo has released a blueprint to unpause. All of these aim toward rebooting the economy, getting people back to work, getting businesses open. But what is your take on what you've seen from these plans from the federal and state governments?
Well, we know that in order to undertake such a huge reopening of our economy will require a lot of conversation. And I think what was released by the federal government has a lot of merit to it. It was reviewed by Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx. And I think that it's a strong blueprint. But it is only a blueprint. It is a guideline for us to consider, but I wouldn't consider it a recipe for how we're going to reopen our local economy. I think we need to make sure that we have a balance between, preserving health. I think we may have averted a crisis here through the social distancing efforts that we undertook a couple of weeks ago. But I would say, we're nowhere near out of the woods. I think we run a very real risk of if we do this incorrectly, we could put our community back at risk and potentially for an even greater crisis, because the reality is, and I'll get into this a bit on Tuesday, but because to some degree we were so successful with social distancing and implementing it early, a large swath of our community has yet to be exposed to this virus, which means that they may be susceptible to it at the point at which we reopen the economy. So we've got to have better testing in place in order to determine the true risk of any actions that we undertake. But the fact of the matter is, we can't be in social isolation forever. Everybody wants to reopen our community to reconnect to the community that we've known and loved for all these years. But the balance is, how do we do so in a safe, informed, collaborative way? and working through the Chamber of Commerce and all of our colleagues across the business community will be very important, much more important going forward than it ever has been.
Now, you talked about some of the protocols we have in place, including the social distancing. What is your assessment of how our community has responded to these, and what's your advice moving forward?
I mean, by and large, our community has responded very, very favorably. And I say that because the results show it. You know, we have flattened the curve for now here in this community. And to use the word plateau, I think is accurate. But again, we're not out of the woods, and we need to keep the foot on the, on the gas pedal, because we don't want to let up on all the good work that we've done. And it's that same spirit of collaboration that I believe will help to carry us forward. You know, as we slowly reopen, first, small groups will be allowed to convene. We'll be able to open some restaurants, not bars. I mean, you've seen some of the details. You know, as we get into that, we're going to want to look and see what's most appropriate for us here. You know, there isn't any, plan that we need to follow every guideline to the T. But we certainly want to give it its due consideration. But I think that the local business community here has shown time and again that we can work together and create a solution that works best for us here locally.
And Dr. Fauci has said that it's not like flipping a switch, and he preaches patience. So what are your thoughts about the patience? Some people are saying, we're hearing from Rochester Chamber members that their patience is nearing an end, and we're just at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely appreciate that. I mean, there are days that I wish we could just all go to a restaurant and go to a movie and enjoy a game at Frontier Field. But the reality is that we just can't do that in a way that's safe. And I completely appreciate that patience is running thin. And I guess all I would offer is that let's keep working at this. Let's keep finding ways to support one another. Because the fact of the matter is that we're going to have to find that patience in some fashion. Because if we don't, unfortunately, we're going to put ourselves backwards, and we're going to find ourselves ultimately lengthening the time that it will take before we can reopen the economy. So I kind of consider it just paying it forward a little bit longer. But trust me, I would love to, if it was as easy as flipping a switch, we would have done that long ago. But the reality is it's just not that easy.
And we're with Monroe County Public Health Commissioner Dr. Michael Mendoza. He's going to be appearing at a Rochester Chamber webinar Tuesday, April 21st. What are some things you're going to share at the webinar?
Well, the reality is that we learn something new every day. So it's 4 days off. I have every reason to believe that we'll learn something new in those 4 days. So we'll be following the news, following the science very closely. I'll share the latest as far as where we are in terms of the effort that we've been talking about for the last several weeks. We'll share some of that. We'll talk a little bit about how things are shaping up in our nursing homes. That's been a very important area of focus this week, and rightfully so. And then we'll talk about, where things stand. Between now and Tuesday, we hope to have some more conversations with the county executive and others to try to figure out what to make of the guidance that has been issued as of yesterday. And we hope to have some preliminary plans in place. But, the reality is that we're going to have a number of conversations, and those conversations are going to take time. And, thankfully, we have some time. We don't need to act right away. We certainly don't want to act right away. And we want to get it right. So I think we'll have a little bit more in the way of some preliminary plans, but we certainly won't have a strong blueprint to even 4 days from now.
And Rochester Chamber members can register for that webinar with Dr. Mike Mendoza at greaterrochesterchamber.com. Dr. Mendoza, thanks for taking the time, and I hope you get one of your donuts real soon.
My pleasure. And thank you for having us. I think the series of conversations that the Chamber of Commerce has hosted for our community has provided a great balanced, insight into all of the complexities of the COVID-19 crisis. So I want to thank you, Bob Duffy, and the entire Chamber of Commerce for all that you do for our community.